Welcome to the Attractions Group podcast. This is episode 102. Alongside Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Sir. How you doing, Don?
I'm doing great, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. And Don, I believe that you have some news to share with the rest of the class about your personal life.
Yes, I do. I'm going to be a grandpa. My daughter's expecting her and her husband in January, first child, and very excited about that. And from what I hear, it's going to be life changing.
From what you hear, from your experience of being the father to the child that is having the child. Well, congratulations on that. I'm sure you're
Yeah,
gonna.
I'm really excited about that. Ryan. I mean, it's like the next stage thing. You have a child, and then you hope someday, when they have children, that you're still around at that point in time to do things with them and watch them grow and things. So really excited about this.
Yeah, you are very lucky because you got a lot of time on the clock to see this kid grow up and graduate high school, and you could be a great grandpa still doing this stupid podcast. Do you realize that? Did you
Well, yeah,
aspire for that?
what I'm looking forward to is 2025 could get off to a really good start. Late January. My daughter has the child, and then a few weeks later, the Bengals win the Super Bowl. That no better way to start off the year than those two things happening.
So if let's say that your daughter she gives birth a little bit late. I know this is unrealistic because they induce, birth, and I'm not a doctor. I have no idea. But so she gives birth on Super Bowl Sunday and the Bengals win the Super Bowl. Does she name the kid Houday?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's a big Bengal fan, as is her husband now, who really wasn't into football until, he met me and then started watching the games on Sunday night with me. So, but, again, just exciting times and just a new chapter and, something to really look forward to.
Yeah. So Maria, if you're listening, I don't know if you do or not. Congratulations. I congratulated you on Facebook already, but life-changing for everybody. Very exciting. I've never really discussed childbirth with your daughter, but this sounds like something that she would have really wanted because I knew that she really wanted to get married and do all that stuff. So this is definitely in line with that. But I've got some news too that's so minuscule compared to yours.
And what is yours?
I'm going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
I heard tell of that. And I have some questions for you about it, Ryan, for this episode.
I'm not open to questions quite yet because we're still in the midst of an investigation. No, I'm totally kidding. Yeah, very excited about it. And I'll also be doing Halloween Horror Nights, but we might touch on that with this discussion. But for the most part, I imagine Horror Nights might have its own episode. I think it would be worthy of its own episode. So we're not going to go too deep into that. But
I think so too. So Ryan, to get it started, so Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. It's offered at the Magic Kingdom. Select evenings, August 9th, just around the corner here, to October 31st from 7 p.m. to midnight. Special event tickets on sale. And obviously you've snagged them. And so when are you going?
I'm going on Labor Day, September 3rd. So that's the opening weekend of Horror Nights. That's our primary focus. And I've mentioned before that we have our Express and our VIP tour and stuff booked up for that. But kind of funny story. I went to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party last year. And the reason I went to that is because my girlfriend Erin bought me the tickets, and that was a Christmas party. And she called me and said, "Hey, can you get December whatever through whatever off?" And I was like, "Probably. Why?" And she's like, "No reason." The heck? And finally, she's like, "Okay, request it off." And okay, tell me why. Like, my time is valuable. And she's like, "Okay." Because obviously you don't go to Very Merry Christmas Party after Christmas, so she had to give me the gift early. But I ended up, getting it off. We went to it, very good experience. We discussed it on a previous episode. So her birthday was last week, and it was kind of funny because I consider myself a pretty good gift giver. Like I overspend our agreed upon budget every single time, but there's always like something where it's like I see it like 8 months in advance and I'm like, this is perfect. And I buy it and I hide it, or it's whatever. Well, this year it kind of crept up on me. So what I ended up getting her was they had just come out with this Haunted Mansion Starbucks cup. and they had that. So I bought that, which ended up being like $50 with shipping from Shop Disney. And also, she's soon to be a graduate of Bowling Green State University with a master's in dietetics. So I got her a really nice Bowling Green hoodie, which both of which are good gifts, but none of it was the home run. So she and I were hanging out, and I think this was last Saturday or so, and she was talking about, "Ah, I really want to go, but money's tight because she's not working a lot right now because she's doing internships and stuff." And I was like, all right, I'm going to pull the trigger on this. So I went ahead and bought the tickets. I bought them. She was discussing this with me on the phone when I was coming to meet her, I think at the park at Kings Island. And I pulled over and bought the tickets through the Disney app, and then continued. And I was just going to tell her about it, because first of all, because she, obviously I got my gift early with a Christmas one, but also for some reason, when you're an AP, you've got all your tickets and stuff in the My Disney Experience app, which she looks at that like a lot. And I'm not sure why, because all of our friends, like when they have reservations, she's like, "Can you believe this person's already going back?" and stuff. But I knew she'd find it, but I ended up not telling her about it because I was going to see, I want to see how long this takes her, how many days. Well, how many days was like 35 minutes before she's like, "Why are these in here?" So yeah, long story short, I know it's too late, but Mickey's Not So Scary on Labor Day.
So, Ryan, this will be your first time experiencing the event. I've had the opportunity to attend the event, really loved it. But for you, what are you most excited about?
So I will tell you this: we went down there this kind of same time of year last year, and honestly, I think the thing I'm most excited about is how elusive the event is by the time it gets to it. Because when we were flying down, we were doing the whole same routine with Horror Nights, but we're like, the Not So Scary, maybe we'll do that. I mean, we have annual passes, so it's not super tempting to go for these parties. Um, but so we went down there. We're at Magic Kingdom. It's a party day. So I talked to not one of the guest services in the front of the park, but under like one of the little umbrellas. I was like, "Is it possible to get tickets?" And they were like, "Go to the main guest services. Usually there's cancellations or something, and they'll sell you tickets." Now I knew they were expensive. That day they were almost $200. You know, so I hop in line at guest services. Remember, the park closes at like 5 or 6 or something on party days. Super long line. So they have kind of like what other parks have nowadays, where somebody who works for guest services is in line and they're talking to just to make sure people aren't waiting in line for a park map or for a real simple question or whatever. Well, they approach us and they're like, "What are you here for?" And I was like, "Just be honest with me. Like, I'm interested in going to the party tonight. Like, should I wait in line or not?" And they were like, "Look," they were like, we we had an issue where it was overbooked by like 300 people. Like, even if there's cancellations, you're not getting in tonight. So to us, it was like and that was part of the temptation to go to the Christmas party too, was that they do sell out. And so that's probably the most exciting thing. But as far as the actual events are concerned, all I can base it on is what I've seen from the Christmas party. And with the Christmas party, the highlight that was kind of a come from behind was the parade. So, they've obviously got the Boo to You parade, I believe they call it, and
Right.
I'm kind of excited to see that.
So, what was it about this event, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, that even made you interested in the first place and wanting to experience it?
I mean, honestly, it was having experienced the Christmas party, and they are expensive, but the entertainment is different, and it's very, very good. And I just had such a great experience at the Christmas party that I want to see the other side of the coin. So the agreement that she and I kind of came up with was that we'll switch off. So, okay, we did the Christmas party this year. Maybe we'll do Not So Scary next year, and then the Christmas party the year after. So that's where it's kind of coming from. I mean, I guess I'll have to get back to you as to what the best part of the party was, obviously, because I haven't been to it. But as far as the temptation is concerned, it's something I haven't seen yet.
So, have you done any research? Have you received any tips from friends or online sources about what you can expect when you go?
So she and I were watching a lot of YouTube videos of different things of like, don't make these mistakes that Mickey's Not So Scary and stuff. And honestly, I think that our formula that we kind of devised for the Christmas party is going to work for the Halloween party, because it's the same kind of like economy of entertainment. It's just different. It's Halloween as opposed to Christmas. But one thing that we did do very well for both Christmas and for Not So Scary is that we start watching these videos about top 10 things to avoid at Mickey's, and we start taking in the information. And then it starts showing like a lot of video of the parade. And it's like, all right, skip this, you know, because I want to be surprised. So yeah, avoiding spoilers. I feel like YouTube has been a great resource for that.
Now, the Boo to You Halloween Parade and the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular, major highlights. So you're
Yes.
looking forward to seeing these shows?
Yes. Boo to You. Like I said, the parade was the best part. Not by a long shot. It was all excellent for the Christmas party, but I've heard the Boo to You parade is actually better than Christmas, so I'm really excited about that.
I would agree
Um,
with that from my experience.
yes, yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. But also, I really like Hocus Pocus in terms of like that was a really big movie when I was little. So
Mhm.
I would welcome seeing the Sanderson sisters in person do that show on the stage.
Oh, you're gonna love
Um,
that, Ryan. Don't miss it.
yeah, honestly, the thing that kind of struck me is like, hey, this is kind of cool. Very early on with the Christmas party was that they did the Mickey's Christmas, everything's Mickey something, but they had the Christmas celebration on the stage in front of the castle, which was fantastic because it was so random. Like the Cabreros from Epcot showed up, you know, so I was like, okay. But the fact that we could show up 10 minutes before, get a decent spot in front of the stage, really good view, and we're not fighting a bunch of people and elbowing people in the face. That was a big culture shock from what we've experienced previously with Disney. You know,
So how excited are you to see the skies come alive with Halloween Spectacular featuring the lasers, the fireworks, and more with the Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular show?
I was kind of hoping it would be spooky this year. No, I'm kidding. Um, no one does fireworks like Disney. Disney is the closest thing to perfect when it comes to fireworks in a theme park. So yeah, extremely exciting. The fireworks were fantastic for Christmas. They're fantastic for Ever After and Harmonious sorry, Luminous is the one I really Harmonious I never saw, to be honest with you. And Disney always does it well. Sometimes they do it better than others, but they're gonna crush it with this. The reviews of the previous years have been fantastic, and I think that they change it a little bit every year to improve it. Even if they don't, I don't care. I've never seen it before, you know.
Have you kind of mapped out where you want to be to see the show?
The fireworks show?
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of have our spot that we always end up being for fireworks, and it's probably 50 feet away from the stage, a little bit on the left. So it's a great view. Now the only thing we haven't seen is my understanding is they do projections on the buildings, at least for Happily Ever After. I've never seen them before because I've always been closer than that. But that's where I will probably end up standing because that's kind of where we ended up by happenstance the first time we saw a fireworks show there. So that's where we live now.
That's a good range, being somewhere like 50, 100 feet away from the stage. I think that's the perfect spot to watch the fireworks shows there. Now, the event, it includes trick or treating, 6 different locations
Mhm.
in the park. Is that something you're planning to participate in?
Yes, reluctantly, I will be trick or treating. Now, one thing that I do understand is that with trick or treating, they start off by using scoops, like ice creams, not ice cream scoops, but like think of like what they use for like French fries and stuff. They give you
Right.
big old scoops or full candy bars. But from what I've heard, if you go closer to the end of the night, they're trying to get rid of all this candy that's out. So the scoops become bigger, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot better than, you've been to other events, Ryan, where you might get like a little Starburst candy or something like that. I mean, this
Yes.
is the real deal. I mean, there's great value in this. You talked about it, it is expensive, but when you get back to your hotel and you look in the bag at all the candy you got, you kind of score pretty big there.
Yeah. I mean, one YouTuber I was watching, it was Paging Mr. Morrow, who's I always knew about him. I didn't realize how big he was because he was at Not So Scary last year, and I was watching his video, obviously skipping through with his footage of the parade and fireworks and so on. But he found like 3 or 4 people that dressed as him in their Halloween costume. Not even like mocking him, but legit fans. But um yeah, he filled up the bag. They give you kind of like the bags that they give you at like high-end retailers like
Mhm.
Lululemon and stuff that's got the logo and stuff on it, which is cool in itself. But he ended up switching to a full like one of those blue bags with the castle on it and had it full of candy, you know. So that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, you gonna dress up in costume?
I'm gonna dress as you. I'm gonna wear a bald
Okay.
skull cap and a Tower Topics t-shirt. Now, we discussed what we're gonna do. Now remember September 3rd in Orlando. So if you want a proper costume, just hang out in your oven for a few hours and then determine what's appropriate for you then, because September I think is the hottest month there.
Oh,
Um,
you always complain about how hot it is everywhere, Ryan.
Not in Alaska. It's wonderful there. But yeah, it's we've discussed costumes. We may just buy the exclusive merchandise and wear that. Costumes are not out of the question because I do kind of geek out on stuff. We got Mickey and Minnie sweatshirts for the Christmas party. So maybe we'll do something like that.
Okay. Now, your favorite Magic Kingdom attractions, they're also open. You know, some with some spell-binding surprises. You've got Space Mountain. You get to experience that pitch black darkness, especially lighting effects when you go for a spin on the Mad Tea Party. And there's a Halloween twist at Monsters Inc., the laugh floor. So for me, one of the things I found is that if you're interested in riding rides at Magic Kingdom, this is a great time to do it because while a lot of people are out doing the trick or treat stops and watching some of the different shows and that, you know, the wait time's not too long for any of the major rides there.
When we went to the Halloween party, we got to ride Space Mountain standby in about 10 minutes. So I would agree with that. But you got to remember though, we're annual pass holders. So we're going like the rest of the week. So for if you bought a ticket and went to the Halloween party and decided to do some Halloween things, but also ride some rides, that would probably make sense for you. But for us, since we're paying extra for rides, that's like paying extra for rides at your local park and then not riding them, you know? So we'll probably focus on the actual activities. Now, one thing I will say is Space Mountain and Pitch Black, that's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for that. We rode the Christmas version that had the lasers and stuff. The Mad Hatter's Tea Party was really cool. My understanding is that it's basically the same kind of experience, just with more Halloweeny colors.
Right.
And then the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor I've never done, so maybe that'll be my first time doing that.
Oh, you got to do it.
I've heard it's cool. We just, anytime we're over there, it's like, hey, Carousel of Progress or People Mover or heck,
Yeah. No,
Space Mountain.
yeah. Anytime there's a party at Disney parks, there's always going to be those specialty sips and bites. You looking forward
Yes.
to that?
Yes, to an this time I'm going to try to commit to actually doing it. Last time we did all the stops with all the cookies and the hot chocolate and stuff, but we didn't partake in any of the exclusive food items. Part of it was that we were rushing around trying to make sure that we got to do everything. But for the Halloween party, since again, this is the same thing that we did in December, but with a Halloween veneer, from what I understand, we now know that we probably have time to grab exclusive food and stuff. So I'm gonna. I don't know if they've released the whole menu yet. I bet they have, but I'm gonna look into it and I'm gonna target specific things. I'm not huge into sweet stuff all the time, but savory stuff Disney does so well that that's probably the direction I'm gonna go.
Now, one of the things Disney does very well for this event is the exclusive merchandise. I
Yes.
know you oftentimes will come back from one of your Disney trips and you've got different merchandise and things you want to show me that you got. So I'm sure you're going to kind of browse and pick some things out.
So okay, Disney is a cult.
I like
Let's be
that what you're showing right. If you're watching on YouTube, I really like what you're showing right now with this
the Spirit jersey.
shirt. Yeah, the
Yep,
jersey.
2024 Spirit jersey. I'm not going to sit here and describe it, so just switch to YouTube if you're listening to audio. Yeah, so Disney's a cult. Let's be very clear. And when they have these, so the way that this works for those who haven't been during Christmas or Halloween is they, I can't remember if they section a part of the Emporium off or if they change out the merchandise. I think they section it off, and you can start buying Mickey's Not So Scary and or Very Merry Christmas Party merchandise starting at 4 o'clock. Okay. Here's the kicker though. You have to have the wristband that shows you're going to the party. You cannot buy the Spirit jersey unless you're going to the party. So since Disney's occult slash brilliant at what they do, one of the things that that Aaron was really upset about was that there was a Halloween party shirt that she wanted to get that she absolutely fell in love with, and her biggest thing was that she felt left out, not left out. She wasn't like not picked in kickball, but she was disappointed we didn't get to go. And her main edge for that is, I really wanted to go to the Halloween party because I wanted that shirt. You know, where else in the world do you see something like that? You know,
right?
brilliant.
So you're going with your girlfriend, Erin.
Hmm.
How do you think she's going to enjoy the event?
I think she'll enjoy it more than I will, and I'll enjoy it a lot. She's on board with you with Magic Kingdom being her favorite park.
Mhm.
We've gone a couple times with with Halloween overlays now. I think we made 2 visits last year during the Halloween season, just at the beginning and the tail end of it. And she got a real kick out of the decorations and stuff. Yeah, it's not crazy there. In fact, I would say that like Kings Island probably decorates more for Halloween than the Magic Kingdom does, because Magic Kingdom has it down Main Street USA, and it's done very tastefully, and it looks like how a city would decorate their main street for Halloween. You know, that's exactly what they're going for, and that's exactly what they accomplished. But I think that she'll really enjoy it. She really likes fireworks and she really likes the parades. I think I like the stage show a little bit more than she did, because I appreciate randomness and boldness when it comes to which characters to bring out and stuff. But she's gonna want to go again, you know.
So how are you planning to prepare for the event? Are there any, specific strategies or plans to make the most out of your visit?
Well, like I said, we're watching a lot of YouTube videos and stuff. We Some of it though is if you go too far, you spoil it. Um, I think that what we'll probably end up doing is our biggest thing for preparing for the actual event will be to get our hands on the agenda for the event, what time, what shows are going on. Usually that ends up online, and that way we can kind of like plan out the day. You know, it's one thing to plan to the Lion King at Animal Kingdom at 3, but here it is 2:50 and you're about to get on Expedition Everest, and but with this, when it's going to be, we know we're going to spend the night walking around, watching parades, collecting candy, and so on. Um, we'll be able to like map it out exactly what we want to do to make sure that we get to do everything.
So how do you think Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is going to compare to other Halloween events that you've attended at different parks? You've gone to the ones that bill itself as, blood, terror, gore. You've gone to Universal,
Mm.
seen what they do. So how do you think this is going to compare?
I think it'll be really unique, because I think that there's 2 directions you can go with Halloween. You've got the gore and the blood and stuff, where if done very well, then can be very good. But if done cheaply, then will look cheap. I mean, that just like anything else. And then you got family friendly, where the temptation isn't really there because it's a lot of like jack o' lanterns and stuff like that. But the cool part about Disney though is it's family friendly. No part of it's actually scary. However, it does have that spectacular element to it. It's a Halloween party. It's not so scary. That's in the name. It's not like Oogie Boogie Bash, which is almost funny sounding. But they have this enormous fireworks show and this fantastic stage show, and this great parade and stuff. And I feel like with the family oriented Halloween events, a lot of times it's light up pumpkins and maybe give out candy and stuff, which for me personally isn't super tempting, but this probably will be very different from that.
So what kind of atmosphere are you expecting at the event? How do you think it's going to differ from just any other day that you're at the Magic Kingdom?
So I don't know because I haven't been, but I I'll have to get back to you because it'll be weird to think well, maybe it'll be kind of creepy, or maybe it'll be this or that. When I really have no idea. Um, I I think that it'll be more cute than normal because I think that's what they're going for. Actually, let me show you this graphic here. They announced, and this shows you Disney's a cult because this is a big deal. Mickey and Minnie have new costumes.
Hmm.
Um, this is for this year. So for you audio listeners who should be on YouTube right now, Mickey's wearing a lime, not a lime green, like a slime green suit. Let's say it that way, with spider webs on it, purple top hat. Mickey's or Minnie's wearing a purple witch's hat and a green dress and that sort of stuff. I think this is really cute. Obviously, the characters are intended to be cute, and they always are. But when they're dressed up like Santa or anything else, it kind of adds that extra layer to it. So that's kind of how I think it'll be. I'll have to do a full review because I think this will be. I feel like Disney during Christmas is very festive anyway. So it's just like, oh, you get access to the shows and stuff. But with Halloween, it's a little bit different because it might be a different atmosphere, you know.
Now, as you plan to head to Orlando for this event, do you have any personal goals, things that you definitely want to do during your visit to this party?
I want to do all the so there's just a handful of things that actually happen, and peripherally speaking, you have access to the whole park, which justifies the ticket price for a lot of people. But um, definitely want to see the fireworks. Definitely want to see the parade. Definitely want to see the stage show. I want to go trick or treating. Um, Space Mountain in the dark. Maybe I'll do Laugh Factory finally. So all the stuff that's directly related to the party, that's where my goal lays, is the stuff that I wouldn't be able to do the next day when I go in with my annual pass.
Now, if you enjoy the event, do you think it'll become something that you're going to make it an annual tradition for you and Aaron?
I don't know if it will be an annual tradition. Since we're going to this in August, it was like $130 a ticket, which is as cheap as it essentially gets, but it's still expensive. As I mentioned earlier, the way that we're kind of leaning is we think that we're going to make it so it's Halloween one year and Christmas the next year. So my understanding, and again, I've been to one event at all for these things, but the Christmas event changes a little bit every year, but not like it's not a new event every year. So it would make more sense where while we do really enjoy the Christmas event, to go every other year so the changes would be more significant.
Final question about Mickey's not so scary Halloween party. What are you hoping to take away from this experience?
Lots of candy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
no,
you go.
no, like I said, I'm not a huge candy per I'll probably end up giving away a lot of the candy, but um, I I want to have a memorable experience. I want to have stuff that kind of like the thing that's cool about Disney is it hits you in the feels rather often, and it doesn't even have to. That's the thing about Disney that's so misdirected by itself nowadays because people the administration, the higher ups at the Walt Disney Corporation, they want to put intellectual property into everything, and I think that there is something to that as far as a kid just loves Cinderella, finally gets to meet Cinderella or Snow White or whomever. Okay, that goes without saying, but I to me it's like I'm a big Figment fan at Epcot. The purple little dinosaur that messes up Dr. Nigel Channing's tour of his facility. To me, it's not about this stupid dinosaur that's annoying to most people. It's that I emotionally connect that character with trips to Disney, you know? So that's why I like it. That's why if they had a Figment movie or something, I would go see it or whatever. So that's that's kind of like the direction I would go with the Halloween stuff. It's not necessarily like I really need to see the Sanderson sisters because I saw that movie in 1993 and then the sequel on Disney Plus a couple decades later. It's just kind of like this festive environment, characters maybe you're familiar with, maybe that you're not, just celebrating Halloween in the best way possible.
Let's talk about the ticket purchasing process. You said you did it through the app.
Yes.
Uh, compare it to some other parks that you bought tickets for online. Is it easy? Is it difficult to pick you out the dates and all those other things you want to do? So talk about that a little bit about the process of purchasing tickets for this event.
So the individual experience of purchasing tickets was very, very good. In the My Disney Experience app, you go in, you tap on the whole thing of special event tickets, you pick your date, you buy them, it's done. Now, with that being said, their app is very bloated. It's almost too functional. It can open up your hotel room and you can order food and you can reserve dining and you can buy an annual pass and you can get show times and you can reserve spot and you can book Lightning Lane or whatever they're calling it today. Um, so the experience on the app is overwhelming, but for actually buying these tickets, and it might have been a bias due to the fact that I knew where to go to buy tickets, was a very positive experience. Now contrast that with you know my other experience obviously is I guess I bought Holiday World tickets. That was rather easy, but that was straightforward. But looking at like Cedar Fair and Six Flags as separate entities, purchasing their season passes is probably a lot more difficult because okay, I want the single park pass or the all park pass, and do I want dining and do I want snacks or what's diamond, what's all park pass, what's prestige, that sort of stuff. So looking at them separately, there's a lot of options for buying a season pass versus this of okay, here's the party, here's the date, let's go. You know.
Now you just renewed your annual pass, so obviously you had a good experience the first time with it.
Mhm.
What would you say about the value is of having an annual pass?
I might have discussed this on the show before, but the value to me of a Disney annual pass is not the fact that I can go to Disney whenever I want. It's that my attitude toward it has changed. I enjoy the parks in a different way. So the best example of this is that when I initially became an annual pass holder, my whole life, going up until maybe my first visit as annual pass holder, Disney's Hollywood Studios was my favorite park because you had to ride Tower of Terror and you had to ride Rock and Roller Coaster and all these cool rides and stuff. But I enjoy Disney in a different way now. I like to look around and I like to watch shows and I like to shop. And from that standpoint, Epcot has floated to the top. I could spend a whole day walking around World Showcase just looking at crap I'm never going to buy.
Mhm.
You know, um, and and it's not as stressful where you know the line for Frozen is 2 hours, and it's like okay, we can either wait on it or we have to choose between that and Luminous because Luminous is at 9, but it's 7:30. There's a 2 hour wait, but if today's our last day here at Disney, and if we don't do it, you'll never get through. That I think that's incredibly stressful, and I'm glad that it's out of the pool. Same with Universal too. With the Universal annual pass, we've always gone on the most unfortunate weekends where it's been so incredibly busy that we've really ridden about nothing. Now we did get to enjoy Christmas and Mardi Gras and stuff like that, so we've a lot of value out of our passes. But I haven't ridden Velocicoaster since we were down there for IAPA a couple of years ago. Same with Hagrid's, and I'm an annual pass holder. You know.
So, what other parks are you going to hit while you're down there?
So we're gonna hit all four Disneys, of course, and and I upgraded to the water park pass, so we're gonna be hitting. I think it's Typhoon Lagoon that's open at that time.
Love Typhoon Lagoon.
I'm
My
really
favorite water
interested.
park there.
Is it really? Because I'm really interested in Blizzard Beach. That's always intrigued me of what that kind of looks and feels like. But I've always thought it was weird that the one that's themed to summer is open during the summer, and the one that's themed to winter is open during the winter. Like you'd think that it would be the other way around, where it's like, oh, you can come here and cool off because it's 150 in Orlando today. And then in the winter, it's like, oh, you just came from Minnesota where it's 50 below zero. Well, here's a tropical lagoon. But I'm not the decision maker here yet. But so we're gonna do that. The pass add-on is incredible. It's like $100, and there's no blackout dates for it or anything like that. But you also get the putt putt. There's two different putt putt courses that you can
Mhm.
do. The caveat being you have to do it before 4 o'clock. So depending on how hot it is that day, we may save that until like our February trip or so. Um, but we also have access to Disney's Wide World of Sports. I really want to check that out, but I'm not. I know that it's got like they have like the AAU basketball championship there, but I'm not exactly sure what our pass gets us. Like, can we attend almost any event there? Like, don't the Braves have like spring training there? Can we get into those games? I don't know. But we're going to try to check that out. Although right now it appears that there's nothing on the calendar in the foreseeable future. I think we're just looking at the wrong place. But both Universal parks, I'm sure we'll swing by, drove past Epic Universe to see what's up. Might try to make it out to SeaWorld. I don't have a SeaWorld pass, and SeaWorld's really expensive, but try to get out there for the Penguin Trek. I'd like to ride that. But we're going to be there for a while.
Would you feel, though, if you were in Orlando and you didn't stop at SeaWorld to try and experience Penguin Trek, that you would regret that on the way home?
I don't know. I mean,
you're there. You got to do it.
I want to do it. I don't know. Last time we went to SeaWorld, I bought a ticket, and then we went and rode the surf coaster and icebreaker and left. So because we had other obligations. We had a packed day, though. We landed, and then we decided as we were getting off the plane that we were going to swing by SeaWorld. So we went there, rode those two things, went to Hollywood Studios and rode Tower of Terror, and then made it to Halloween Horror Nights, where we had Express. So that was rather exhausting, to say the least.
So would you say Tower of Terror your favorite Disney attraction?
Yes, Tower of Terror is the best attraction that's ever happened.
Yeah, I go back and forth between that and Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion would probably, if they switched, and okay, I love Twilight Zone, and I love Rod Serling, so that kind of gives it an edge, but Tower of Terror also has like that thrill element to it.
It does.
Most of the time it's like with 1 being the people mover and 10 being top thrill 2. It's in like the 4 to 5 range as far as thrills are concerned, but every once in a while you get up there in that 6-7 range and it feels like 10. What
I like about it, Ryan, is it's really not the same experience twice. Every time you do it, depending on where you sit and everything and what elevator shaft you get in, I mean, it's going to be a different experience.
And the program is randomized as well. That's one cool thing about it, because especially, I mean, I like to think of it that I'd ridden it a bunch of times. The reality is I've probably ridden it no more than 10 times lifetime, but that's enough time to know, at your home park, you get a roller coaster, you're going to know it turns left here and right here and so on very quickly. But there's that one element of Tower of Terror that you'll never be able to adjust to, because you go into the shaft and you don't know if it shoots up or drops first. So you sit there and prepare, and it could go either way. There's just no way around it. And I think that's so brilliant.
It is. I'm a big fan of Big Thunder Mountain at Magic Kingdom. One of my favorite. When people laugh when I say it's one of my, if I had to pick my top 15 roller coasters, it's in that list. I love it. What are your thoughts on it?
I always saw that, honestly, as kind of like a get out of the way. When I go down there, to be fair, I'm not really looking for a roller coaster experience, because I can get that at home. I look for stuff that's unique. That's why I like Tower of Terror and stuff like that. But for a long time, I thought of Big Thunder Mountain as kind of a like, okay, Aaron wants to ride it, so I guess we have to, kind of thing. And I rode it at night last year, or probably a couple months ago. I don't remember exactly. It was really cool at night. So it's kind of growing on.
Great night ride
with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you've got a good plan in place. You're going to have a great time while you're down there. Any final thoughts on your upcoming trip to Walt Disney World?
Yeah. So if anybody has been to Not So Scary and wants to give me some advice, then drop us a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear your advice.
All right. Well, stick around. The Pick Six is next.